Well, we time traveled and switched locations. So, back in the garage, here is the case. Primary side. It's the left side case. This is the one we just pressed the race in. Here's what I'm dealing with. I had one of the actual factory studs pull out, and it looks like this has been double repaired. So I have a helicoil insert in here that started pulling. So all I did was hit it with a pick, pry up just the end there. Now, just go in. Super crappy. This is probably the crappiest version of pliers that I have in here. But at least now I have a tail to grab. Now we're just going to unthread this out. And if you didn't know, hardware works basically like a spring. That's all that this is. Oh my god, these pliers are actually really, really bad. I don't know if we're going to make it on this one. I just grabbed the closest ones I had. Nope. One crappy grade of tools up. But we are going to unthread this helicoil. Like so. Now, the one that's currently in here is also kind of messed up. I don't know how far I want to go on this. The bottom side of this has been JB welded too, so I'm kind of limited here. Normally I'd have a through bolt and I would just put a helicoil in there and call it good. But we need a 3/8 helicoil. That this will actually repair itself. I don't love this. I don't recommend doing it this way. But if not, this turns into a huge pain in the ass, and I'm going to have to step it down, which I really, really, really don't want to do. So if I can make this work and grab, we're going to try it. If it turns into a bigger issue down the line, we'll address that too. But my guess is the problem that was happening is this was not punched through all the way to break that spring tang like it needs to be. Taps here. Break the tang off. Yeah, the bottom of this is JB Weld or siliconed or something. Let's see what I can get out of this. It's not a bad idea to do that. If you're worried about oil coming up through the bottom side of the threads, yeah, blue silicone there. But the problem with that is you run into a situation that I do right now when you're trying to patch a helicoil. Like that. I'm not happy enough with that to leave it. So let me see if I can pop this helicoil out, the new one. Then I'm going to drill a hole right through this all the way into the case. If I need to reseal up the bottom, I will. But I don't like it. I was really hoping this was going to be a little bit easier of a fix. Unfortunately, you can't win all of them. So, we'll pull this up, get the tail up, and we'll do the same thing with pliers. Now, part of the problem that I'm running into is this hole's not drilled all the way through, which means the little tang at the bottom doesn't want to break off proper. I'll chuck up a 5/16 drill bit that's smaller than what I need and drive this thing out of here. Okay, so we drilled into this a little bit more. Gave myself enough room to break the tang on here. I think that. Now, where's my stud? I'm going to throw some red Loctite in here, double nut the end of this, and drop this right back in. So essentially what happened is I got a bigger helicoil on the outside, and I do not like running two of these. However, trying to get one that's going to work for both of these is going to be kind of a pain. And being a case stud, if I red Loctite this in and this all grabs, we should be okay for reassembly. Base nuts get tightened down, but it's not anything over the top crazy torque wise. So much better that than the head bolt. Let me grab some Loctite and double jam nut this, and then we'll throw this stud back in. Alright, so it's a 3/8 fine thread, 3/8 24. So we'll need 2 9/16 wrenches to pinch these together. I should have cleaned up before I started doing all of this. I did not. Got one socket, one ratchet, one wrench. Jam nut these two together first. So here's the stud. I got 2 nuts on here. Torque these into each other like so. Now I have a locked jam nut. Then take a little bit of brake clean. Clean up the threads. Wipe these down. And we are going to go straight to the red Loctite. 272 is what I use. I do like this one. Way better than the hardware store. You can see how thick that is. In comparison to what you get from your generic red Loctite. We got that one torqued in now. Once that Loctite sets up, I should not have any problems there. Unfortunately, I didn't jam nut these two tight enough. So if this pulls the helicoil, that's okay. I'd much rather have that happen right now. Let's see if I can get this off with a little bit more power. So basically what happened here is I over-torqued the nut. So now I gotta get creative. So the end of this thread was a little jacked up. I couldn't get a regular 3/8 bolt to thread on. So we got the fine thread chucked up in the vise, and we are going to re-chase the end of these threads to clean this up for the stud to go back in. This was entirely avoidable if I took a little bit more time and locked those two nuts together a little bit better. I did not. And then I felt it slip, and then I kept going, hoping it would be good. That's what happens when you don't fix it the first time. So now we'll cut the end of these threads. Like so. Now I need to figure out a good way to get this separated from the other side. So here's a regular 3/8 nut. We're going to jam this on. Since the threads are now recut, try and see if I can lock this down tight enough to break this one free. I hate when this happens. So basically I'm going to have to jam nut this side to pull this nut off. Whole lot of jam nutting. So mad at myself right now for letting it get this far. So I need to get the fine thread nut off of this, or I need to replace the stud with a new one. Which right now at this juncture actually does seem a lot easier. Okay, now we're on to the crappy part that I didn't want to do. Still fixable, but will make my life a little bit more difficult in the long run. Now we're going to try this again. Jam nut the base. That's exactly what I didn't want to do. Like so. Now I got the fine thread free. Bottom's still jam nutted, but I also just mangled the rest of these threads. So before I back that out, I'm going to take a 3/8 fine thread and recut the top of this from the vice grips that I just used on this, which is the worst thing you could possibly do. But when you screw up, you might as well do it royally and make an entire ordeal out of it. I think in the last video I was talking about how much I love this tool, and I'm so happy I bought it, or not tool, but the thread repair kit. Well, this is why. Because I do stupid things like this on a regular basis, and knowing that I have a full set significantly makes my life easier in situations like this. So this thread's all the way off like it's supposed to. A little tight on these outer threads, which is expected. But we'll run this down a couple more times with the chaser. Especially that initial. The vice grips did slip on me, which was what I was trying to avoid. Then we're going to re-jam nut these all over again. But this time I'll leave it chucked up in the vise and make sure that these go on tight. Pinch together really well. Also trying to work rather quickly here, because there is some Loctite on those two jam nuts on the base that I had to put together to separate these. Luckily, this is the harder of the two. Now, that broke the bottom one free, which wasn't threaded on that much. Breaks this one free. A little more Loctite, and we'll go right back over to the case. Version 2. More Loctite. Tighter jam nuts. And this time, I won't let the fine threads slip down to the base. Like so. All right. Now, let's try and break this free. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. This is kind of awkward. Wrench on the inner. That's what we're looking for. This one comes right off. This one comes right off. I'm off camera. There we have it. Stud is back reinstalled with a new helicoil, good to go. Exactly like I wanted it to be. Now we get to do the same thing on the oil pump of the other side. With a new helicoil, hopefully that one will go a little bit better than this, but Loctited in place, should be good. We will find out. Oh, forgot about this one. Let's do this while we're at it. This is a helicoil kit. Here's what I'm using. Nothing crazy fancy, but it comes with the drill bits. This is the 3/8 drill bit that I need for this. So we got the case chucked up. .3/8 drill bit to cut through that one. What do I have for my tap stuff? Unfortunately, I think I left most of my tap stuff at home, which is super, or at the shop, which is super inconvenient. Let's see if that's the upper motor mount bolt, so it does go through into the top side of the transmission. I'll dust this down real quick. Then play with some more Loctite that I just put away. Good job me. Preemptively putting things away when we're not done. All the metal shavings down there at the bottom. Make sure this thread's in proper first. Like that. Which it does. So now we're going to double Loctite. I don't know if this is a thing, but the thought just dawned on me right now. I'll take the threader, a little dab of Loctite right there, and we'll drop this back into the case. Like I said, this one I definitely have a through hole all the way on the bottom, so I don't have to re-drill anything. Get that thread set up just below the lip of the hole, like that. We'll take our punch, break the tang, like so, which should stop the spring tension and lock that one in place. Now if I grab a 3/8 bolt, that'll do. That's what you want. Threads in nice and smooth. Like so. This is a short bolt too, but that's what we're looking for. That's done. Now we can move on to the oil pump. Thought we were onto the oil pump. Just looked at this one. I had the bolt that I just threaded into the other upper motor mount. Well, this ain't good. Luckily, this one's already been retapped, so here's the 3/8 helicoil tap. If I drop this in, nice and smooth, this one threads right in like it's supposed to. I'm not recutting like I just did on the last one. So we should be good on this. Put one more 3/8 in here, get this top side done, then we'll move on to the bottom. Then we get to pick all the splinters out of my hand from all the aluminum shavings that are now covered everywhere. Super fun. You know what? I'm going to do this again. If this is a terrible idea and you should not Loctite your helicoils in, somebody let me know in the comments, because, like I said, I've never done it this way. Never really thought I had to. But logically, if I don't ever want this to move, that's really what I want. And again, this is another one of the through ones, so it makes it a little bit easier. Tang broke off there. Pull the chunk out of the motor because we don't need that in there later on. Pop that up on the hammer. Here's your 3/8 bolt. Good. Threads all the way down, all the way out. Nice and smooth, nice and easy. Let's move on to the oil pump. Go down to our 1/4 inch stuff. It's 1/4 20. Man, this is going to suck. Well, let's try this one more time. This is my concern here. Oh, son of a bitch. I'm going to try this. I'm very unoptimistic about this actually working, and I'll show you why in a minute, but let me try this first. If I can get this to catch and grab, we'll go with it. If not, this turns into a tomorrow project. Nope. I never resharpened this after I broke it last time. So, 1/4 20, we'll get done at the shop. I got another set of these up at the shop too. So there's that. Well, that wraps it up for this video. I am missing the bit I need to retap the helicoil for this 1/4 20 thread. And by missing, I mean I had it, it broke, and I never put it away or replaced it like I usually try to do. So, what I thought was going to be a quick and easy patch up on the case ended up being a little bit more tedious, so hopefully the time lapse shows you how crappy that is. The one, I got lucky on the right side, on the cam side of the motor. That one's already been repaired. I pulled the helicoil out earlier when I was disassembling all of this. That's put back in, hopefully the right way. Let me know on the Loctite thing if I did that and it messed up everything. I'm curious. Either way, I'm going to run it the way it is, see how it goes, and if it ends up being a catastrophic failure or any of these pull out when I go to reassemble everything, I'll let you know. On the other end, oil pump is drilled at least, so now I just got to get the 1/4 20 helicoil tap with an actual tip on it instead of trying with just the outer edge. I need that taper at the end to get it started. So new cam bearings are in. Lots more cleanup on these tomorrow, but ideally the goal is still to try and press these back together. So the upper motor mounts are done, cylinder studs are done. Once I get the flywheel back in this motor and the case is glued back, we should be in pretty good shape to rock and roll forward. And like I said, I got another day off on Friday, so my goal is to try and get at least the bottom end back together and put back in the frame. I don't really care about the front end stuff yet. I'm still figuring out what I'm doing on those between the chopper build and this one. If I'm going to keep shaving the rest of the lowers or knock all the tabs off and run a spool, I kind of think I have it figured out, but we'll find out in the next couple days here because I'm running out of time in terms of fab and prep and figuring things out. I really need to start getting this done for assembly because that show is March 25th and I have a million other things to do and we are getting real busy at the shop again. So This needs to get done ASAP so I can just have the last week or so, 2 weeks, to go through and chase down problems. I still got to rewire the whole thing. We're going to do a scratch wire on that. Chopper wiring, super simple. We're running a single points ignition because the single fire power arc ignition that I wanted to run is way too messed up. Look back at the sporty teardown videos or the XLCH Ironhead Phoenix. I don't remember how I titled it, but other than that, thanks for watching. We will catch you guys on the next one. Lots of this Harley reassembly stuff coming your way soon. Follow along. Hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate it. If we can hit that 1,000, I will have shirts and things up for sale on the store for you. I have shirts, hats, stickers, all sorts of oddball stuff. Lots of things in the works, so stick around. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one.